2023 to 2024 and 2024 to 2025 instructional calendars. Ms. Melissa Galaz will present. Hello.
Hello, good evening, President Tenorio, Vice President Court, members of the board, Superintendent Ramos. So we are here once again, just presenting additional information that was requested from you as a board to provide a little bit more consistency for all stakeholders and knowing ahead of time some of the calendars that we presented originally at the February 7th board retreat. Just a few reminders that these drafts are instructional calendars and that we will be presenting them for discussion, for your board discussion and for possible approval. Should the board approve the calendars, adjustments may be necessary to comply with pending legislation and rule changes that may result from legislation. And again, we talked about this as examples of the 60 hours of required professional development for teachers under new rules, or those remote days may become non-instructional days for students depending on which legislation passes. And also adjustments to the length of the school day may be necessary at the elementary level. However, that wouldn't impact any of the instructional calendars that are presented, okay? Some other reminders, Draft A currently aligns to the current 22-23 school calendar, instructional calendar with balanced breaks between the quarters and a longer break after quarter 4. This draft does have the early dismissal days at the end of each semester. Draft B provides for shorter breaks between the quarters, a shorter Thanksgiving break. School would begin in early August and end prior to Memorial Day. This draft has full days for students and staff at the end of each semester. And again, both drafts do have educator planning days and extended learning days, but the designated enrichment days are not designated on either of the calendars. Those can be embedded by schools. Again, on February 7th at the board retreat, you were presented with the data. And again, these were for the drafts A for the 23-24 school year and draft B. Again, as a board, you tasked the calendar committee, who I'd like to thank once again for additional meetings that we had after the board retreat to draft and look at the 24-25 school year calendars for both draft A and draft B. And in fact, 2 of our members are here today, Tana Miller and Katie Gump, so I want to thank them, and again, all the committee members for their commitment and dedication to this committee.
I'd like to round of applause.
You recall from the retreat, again, really looking at the stakeholder input and feedback, and again, looking for consistency and not going back and forth from calendar to calendar. Let's look at consistency, and again, trying to hopefully have a possible approval moving forward so that all stakeholders can start planning ahead, and that's why we have that two-year cycle calendars for you to review. And I stand for questions.
Thank you, Ms. Galaz.
Yes.
Board members? I do not think they have any questions, but we'll probably be discussing.
I think that sometimes people are not.
Can you put the mic in front of your?
Yeah, sorry about that. I think sometimes people think that that when we have set a vacation period that doesn't match what their needs are, that maybe we forget that our schools are accommodating. The teaching staff has, and that's been that way for a long time. But families can have their own plans and find ways to make up the work or carry on the schoolwork, even though they're traveling or whatever. But the school system does still accommodate the differences in families' plans.
Yes, Board Member Cooper, yes, as a former principal, we do accept, and parents do fill out forms for travel, and they're more than likely they are approved, and this has been ongoing prior to even a balanced calendar.
Surely.
Yes.
Thank you. I personally, and I've heard from a lot of families, or and seen what they've written about feeling like the longer periods of time out of school are not productive. And, you know, the kids need a rest, but they don't need rest that long. And there is learning loss that occurs, and we probably would do just as well with shorter breaks, but have a break. Be sure that we have a break. So I can empathize with that in my own experience. So.
Thank you, Ms. Cooper.
And my greatest concerns is that our teachers, you know, we're doing that. We are strategically doing budgeting, and